a list of stars that never ends. You're our guest in the front row. Now it's time to start the show. Branson Webcast Show, interviews with folks you know. Come along and join the fun. In our books, you're #1.
From the live entertainment capital of the world, you're listening to BransonWebcast.com with your hosts, Hamner and Barber.
It's not TV or radio, just one click, download the show. Grab some coffee, take your seat. We've got friends you'd like to meet. Branson Webcast Show, Hamner, Barber, here we go. Laugh along and have some fun. It's a show for everyone.
We're on the World Wide Web at BransonWebcast.com. And now, here are your hosts, Hamner and Barber.
Welcome back to the webcast, everyone. Thanks, Craig Burnett and Ricky Bowen and Texas Mud for the theme music. And I've got a very special guest here, Dave, and Dave knows you well, too, Gary Bartlett. Yeah. And I first met you, Gary, it was several years ago here at the Osmond Theater, I think. I was performing there, and you came up and introduced yourself, and we've been good friends ever since.
You're the best ventriloquist I've ever seen in my entire life. And I'm not saying that because I'm sitting here.
Wow.
It is really...
I couldn't have written that any better. Well, thank you, Gary. I appreciate it. And coming from you, that's a high compliment because you've worked with the best out in Las Vegas, in magic and ventriloquism. Tell us a little bit about, I mean, you do so many different things. It's hard to put you in a category. Okay. But you're a producer, you're a performer, you're a...
Director.
An entrepreneur. What do you like to describe yourself as?
You know, it started out when I was a kid. I wanted to be a magician, and I saw a magician come to our church, and I thought, okay, that's the career for me. And I did the standard stuff, the birthday parties and the schools and the churches. And I figured, well, if you want to be successful, you find somebody successful, and you go to work for them and learn their secrets, not their trade secrets, but their work ethics. And so I ended up going to work for David Copperfield in 1989 for about 4 years, and I toured the world. I met premiers and prime ministers and kings and queens, and then after doing it for about 4 years, I realized I didn't want to be a performer.
Oh,
yeah. But I did learn that Copperfield's
you started at the top, though, didn't you?
Oh, absolutely. I did learn that Copperfield's secret is hard work and never to give up.
Yeah.
And that's that's a lot of the entertainers today that are very successful. They've gone through droughts and all that kind of stuff and just really sprung up.
Sometimes it'll take you 30 years to be an overnight success.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, and his staying power has proven that he continues to work hard and so forth with what he's doing.
Yeah.
We had him here in our theater a few years back, a couple years back when he was here, and it was a great honor to get to meet him and talk to him. And but he's still doing it, and he's still the king. Let's face it. No matter what anyone else says out there today, he's still the king. So. Anyway, so Gary, now you went back to producing and directing. What was your first, after the Copperfield stint, what was your first job then as directing and producing a show?
What happened was I became a stagehand, and I joined the stagehand union out there, and a magician was producing a show for NEC Computers. Never produced a show in his entire life, and he called me and he said, hey, I need help. So I ended up putting the whole show together for him, and I brought Rip Taylor in and some magicians in, and from that it just opened up to a lot of different things.
Gary was very kind. One Christmas time I was out performing at the Hilton in Las Vegas with a show, and it was kind of a tradition. You invite all the entertainers who are away from home for Christmas to come to your home for a Christmas party, and that was a great time, and I thank you for inviting me to that. It was a lot of fun.
There's a lot of performers that don't have any family, and especially if they're working in a show and many miles away, so we made it a tradition. We'd cater the whole thing in, invite a whole bunch of entertainers to come in, and Penn and Teller and Fielding West and a whole bunch of other people used to come. Louis Anderson came one year, so it was a nice little tradition.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah, and then just a few years ago, you moved from Las Vegas to good old Branson, Missouri, and I know you have some reasons for that and some connections here. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's actually a pretty strange story. I was getting ready to get married, and we were going to get married in Liberace's home.
Well, that's strange right there.
Well, that is strange, yeah. And so the art director who designed Caesar's Magical Empire, which was a dinner theater, which is a $68 million theater, I worked on that project with them, and I stayed there for 7 years. He said that the Liberace Museum was opening back up, and let's go down there. All these celebrities are going to be there. What happened was I actually got hit by a car with Siegfried and Roy in it. and it laid me up for about 2 years, got a partial knee replacement. And being in the entertainment industry, you know, if you're out of sight, out of mind for 6 months, you're done. And my wife was from Springfield. She had some family here in Branson. And so we decided to make the move. We heard about Branson Landing. We didn't know really what it was. And we moved here, and it took me about 2 years to make a couple connections out here, and then it landed me the job at Branson Landing.
Yes, and tell us, what is that job? Because we haven't even discussed that yet,
sorry.
but we will get to that. But
Okay.
that's a great job for you.
Yeah, I produce all the events and the entertainment down at Branson Landing. As a matter of fact, you're coming down to host one of our events.
I will be there. It actually is this next weekend,
right?
But it'll be this weekend when this airs. So it's Saturday. It's the Spring Fashion Show.
Yep.
And I'm going to MC the Spring Fashion Show because look at this. I know fashion, right?
Yes, you do. Those colors are...
It's a good thing I'm emceeing it, not modeling here, because I kind of have the Garth Brooks shirt thing going here today, but that'll be a lot of fun too. And you know, the landing, for folks who haven't been here yet, is an incredible, it's the latest major development here in the Branson area, and it's shopping, restaurants, hotels, condominiums, all along Lake Taneycomo, beautiful waterfront. And
they have entertainers on the street out there.
Strolling entertainers. All the trees have colored LED lights, and they all change color at the same time all around. And then there's a giant, spectacular fountain and fire show that was produced by the same people who did the Bellagio fountains.
Right, the wet design company.
The what?
Wet design.
Wet design,
yeah.
And it is wet too.
It is.
Yes. But it's a lot of
wonderful
fun.
thing.
Yeah, and so of course that is one of the big things that's bringing people to Branson right now, and this whole new growth spurt that Branson's going through right now. And you're the one right down there making all the entertainment happen. That's great. Yeah.
It's definitely a pleasure, and Branson is definitely a different town, and it's more family oriented. And once you really get to know the people, they're really great people. But sometimes it's hard to break through that first door because they see you coming from the West Coast. You're going to come here and show them how to do it. And I just kept my mouth quiet and for 2 years, and then finally I landed the Branson Landing thing with Bill Lennon. So
yeah, and Bill Lennon's a great guy also, and a good friend, and very, very talented. I love the Lennon brothers when they do their song, and Gail Lennon, Bill's wife. They're one of my favorite shows in town, but they're not performing together right now. I hope they come back soon. But Bill, just in himself, all the brothers really are very creative people, and so that's great that you're working with them too. And but you did well in Vegas too, of course, and you even won a pretty huge honor before you came to Branson.
Right, I won the Nevada Businessman of the Year in 2003, and I was honored to take my father, who's still living, to go to dinner with George Bush.
Oh,
so it was
wow.
It was a pretty cool thing to do. I mean, my dad's in his 70s, and for him to see his son, I'm the youngest of 8 kids.
Is
so
that right?
To see something like that and have my dad, it was just a big coup for me.
Yes, and your dad has been to our show a few times here at the theater, and a very nice man, and so he's doing well?
He's doing well. Yeah. In fact, he'll be coming back out this summer.
Oh, good. All righty.
So, one other thing I wanted to tell you is last year, and I'm not stroking myself, last year we got a thing in the school, from the school system, about children that needed to be adopted for Christmas. And so my wife and I, we adopted 4 kids, and not literally adopted, just for Christmas, to buy Christmas gifts. And when we went to drop off the gifts at social services, they said, I said, well, how many more kids didn't get adopted? Because I'm thinking, if there's 4 or 5, we'll adopt 4 or 5 more. They said 200.
Oh my.
Wow.
So that laid heavy on my heart, and I told them I would do something for them. So on July 18th, which is a Friday night, I'm bringing John Tesh into the Hilton for a fundraiser for them.
Well, excellent.
So he was kind enough to come do it, and I sort of tied it in with him picking his child up from Camp Kanakuk, so it worked out perfect for us.
We'll have to be promoting that here on the webcast. We will remember that. July 18th, John Tesh coming to the Hilton, a fundraiser for these children here. Okay.
And 100% of the money after expenses is going right to that fund.
Well, whoever said you didn't have a big heart, I don't believe it. No, they never said that. You're a great guy, and I appreciate you being on the webcast. And I look forward to this weekend.
Appreciate it very much.
And we'll have you back again.
Thank you, Gary.
You've been listening to BransonWebcast.com with your hosts Dave Hamner and Jim Barber. Join us next time for more interviews, music, and fun from Branson, Missouri.
Y'all come back and hear us soon. Hope you liked our little tune. Next time on the internet, we'll have new friends you haven't met. Webcast show. Spread the word to all you know. On the web and having fun. It's the show for everyone.
This is your announcer, Craig Burnett, saying thanks for joining us and come back real soon for more fun at BransonWebcast.com.